So in the last session, we have discussed about the conditional statements. There, we have discussed the if condition and the various formats of if condition, how to use and when to use the formats we have discussed practically. Now today we'll see one more conditional statement, that is switch statement. Then how to use this switch statement? Now let's see practically in this case. Initially, when the Salesforce has introduced the first platform, they haven't provided the switch statement. During that time, as part of conditional statements, we have only two conditional statements. One is if condition, second one is ternary operator. We don't have the switch statement. And from winter 18 release onwards, from the winter 18 release onwards, Salesforce has introduced that switch statement. From the winter 18 release onwards, they have introduced that switch statement with a different syntax. As of now, whatever the syntaxes we have discussed upon defining the variables, assigning the values, if conditions, and then all these things, these are exactly similar like as the other programming language syntax. Like your C programming syntax, C++, Java syntax, your Apex programming syntax, almost similar. But when coming to the switch statement is having a different syntax than the other programming languages. It's completely different. Then what is the use of this switch statement? Now let's see. In one word, we can say switch statement is exactly similar like as else if condition. It's similarly like as else if condition, where we can able to compare a variable value. We can compare a variable or an expression value with the multiple branches. With the multiple branches, where if any of the branch value, is matching with the expression or the variable, then that particular branch code will be executing automatically. In order to compare a variable value or an expression value with the multiple branches, with the multiple branches or multiple conditions, we are using this as switch statement. Like in the previous session, we have discussed that else if condition. There, I am using this average variable value. This average variable value we are going to be comparing with the multiple values here. I am comparing with either if it is greater than 60 or not. If it is greater than 60, then execute this block of statement. If it is not greater than 60, then I want to check with one more branch over here. This is the second branch. I am comparing the average variable value with either greater than 50 and less than 60 or not. If it is matching with this particular condition, then I would like to execute this block of statement. Or else, if this condition is also failed, I want to cross check with another branch. Like that, multiple branches we can able to add. So in this case, switch statement is used to implement the similar kind of functionality like as your else if, where we can able to compare a variable value or an expression value with the multiple branches. If any of the branch conditions are matching with this variable, then we can able to execute the respective block of statements inside this. Now, in this case, when coming to that switch statement, we are having two syntaxes are available. We will see each and every syntax separately. We'll see some practical examples also. Now make a note of this one. Switch statement. By using this statement, we can compare a variable or expression value with the multiple branches. If any of the branch value is matching with the expression, then it will execute the associated block of statements. Associated block of statements. If any of the branch value is not matching with the expression, then it will execute the default block code. It will execute the default block statements. It will execute the default block of statements. Then how the syntax look like here? We can specify that syntax. Switch. Generally, if it is a C or Java or C++ or C Sharp, the people are using switch off, you can specify the variable. But here the syntax is a bit different. Okay, now we have to specify switch on variable or expression. We can specify the variable name or expression. So now if this variable name value or expression value is matching with this case, like as when value. If it is matching with this value, then it will be able to execute this block of statements. Write the statement. Suppose if this variable value is not matching with this value 1, then I want to cross check with the second block. That means second branch. Value 2. Then I want to execute this block of statements. When the value 3. We can write the block of statements. Write the statements. Like that here we can able to write the multiple branches here. And then if any of the branch is not matching, then finally we can specify default block. That means when else. Is the default block statements. If you want to compare with the null, here we can able to add a condition also. When null. If the variable or expression value is null, then we can able to write the statements here. Okay? We can able to write that statement. We can able to write the switch statement with the multiple branches where whatever the variable or expression that you have specified, if the variable value or expression value is matching with any of this branch value, then that respective branch statements will be getting executed. If this variable value is not matching with the branch 1, that means value 1, then it will check with the second value, second branch. Now the value 2. If this is also failed, it will go to that third branch. If this is also failed, fourth branch, like that will verify all. And then if any of the branch value is not matching, it will be executing that else block over here. Okay, the default block statement. But always only one branch will be getting executed, not multiple. Suppose if the variable value is matching with that branch 2, nothing but value 2, it will execute this block of statement. Once it has executed, it won't check the remaining conditions here. It won't check with the remaining branches. Directly, it will be coming out from the entire switch statement directly. Now, make a note. Always, it will execute only one branch statement at a time. At a time, it will be executing only one branch statement, not multiple. This is the syntax we have to follow. This is the first syntax which has been given by switch statement. No, not required. If it is a C programming or other programming languages, we have to use break statement. But here we no need to use any break statement. It will be executing. It will be coming out from the block automatically. Yes, right. That's what here they did so many enhancements as part of this switch statement. That's what they have given this syntax over here. Okay. So we no need to use any break statement. Generally in the C or C++ or any other places, we have to write the statement at the last of the block. We have to write the break statement. That means once the statements have been executed inside the block, then please come out from the entire switch statement. But here we no need to use any break statement. That will be taken care by the switch statement by default. No, not mandatory here. So now in this case here we have to specify the else, because here null is not mandatory. Okay, else we have to specify here. Because if any of the branch is not matching, then what you want to do finally? For that one we should specify the else part here. But null is not mandatory here. Now in this case here, it is a optimized way. Okay, it's an optimized way. Generally, we are going to be comparing that. Like if the value equals to so and so, we are using that equality operator. If we are comparing that values, then at that time, for the comparison, it will take some time. But in this case here, when coming to that Salesforce, whenever I'm using this when, it is going to be comparing the values internally by default without using any explicit conditions. If you are using the conditions by your own by using equality operator, additionally it will take some time, but in this case it will be having the internal process by default. So we can reduce that number of lines of code also. Characters also we can reduce. Okay. Wherever we are using this else if, there we can use that switch statement directly. Done with the syntax? Now let's see a practical example on this one. So let's take a small example. So let me go to that execute anonymous window. So write an Apex program. Write an Apex program to print the day name based on the day number as below, based on the weekday number. To print the weekday name based on the weekday number. Previously, we are implementing this functionality by using that else if, but now I would like to do it with the help of switch statement. Now, in this case, I am indicating that the weekday number, weekday name. So weekday number I am indicating like as some 1, like as some Monday. If it is some 2, Tuesday. If it is 3, some Wednesday. Like that I would like to indicate that. I am indicating like as some 7. If it is 7, I want to indicate that some Sunday. If it is less than 1 or greater than 7, I want to indicate that invalid weekday number. Okay, invalid weekday number. And in next week, I am planning for a small exam on admin part. Okay. So now the complete admin part. So which will be having multiple choice as well as we have to write the answer also. Okay. So because here I would like to conduct 2 exams. Next week, 1 exam on admin, and then after that week, 1 more exam. Okay. So that you can get some idea what kind of questions they will raise in the interview point of view. So that please prepare well. Okay. Now, then how can we write this piece of code now? Now tell me here. So what is the input? What is the output in this case? Input is what? We have to supply the weekday number as the input. That weekday number is a numerical. So we need to define one integer variable. Integer, I would give the weekday number. I'm assigning some value 4. Okay, I'm assigning some value 4. So now based on this weekday number, I would like to identify whether this weekday number 4 comes under what? What is that name of that weekday here? Is it Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Sunday, or what? I want to find out that. For that one, I would like to use the switch statement. So now I would like to use the switch statement. Now tell me how can we write the code here? Switch on, switch on variable or expression. What is that variable in this case here? Weekday number, right? Weekday number. So now, next, after that, if the weekday number value is equals to 1, if the weekday number value is equals to 1, that means when 1. That means if the weekday number value is equals to 1, then what you want to do? I want to show that message system.debug, that is some Monday. And then when 2, I want to show the message here, that is Tuesday. When 3, system.debug, some Wednesday. When 4, Thursday. When 5, Friday. When 6, Saturday. When 7, Sunday. Now, when else, that means if the value is other than this 7, what do you want to do? I want to show the message invalid weekday number. Okay. I want to show the message here. Now, in this case, I am using the switch statement, switch on the weekday number. That means this is a variable. Please collect this variable value and compare this variable value with the multiple branches here. This is one branch, this is the second branch, this is the third branch. So that please compare this variable value with this branch. Generally, to compare this one, we are using if weekday number equals to 1, then we are writing the condition. Else if weekday number equals to 2, then we have to write. That means we are using that equality operator here. In this case, if I am using equality operator, it will be adding like as a condition to compare that values, it will take some time. So that I want to eliminate that time here. I want to reduce that time so that I can make my application execution faster. For that one, they have given that the optimized way of using that, okay, the switch statement by using the syntax. So it is comparing that value. When the weekday number value is equals to 1, it will display the message, okay, Monday. If the weekday number value is matching with that 2, it will be indicating like as Tuesday. Matching with the 3, it will be indicating that Wednesday. Like that, it is comparing with that. If any one of that value is not matching with this condition, okay, if any one of that variable value, nothing but the branch value is not matching with that variable, it will be displaying the message invalid weekday number. Okay, so that's here we can specify the else block also inside this. Specifying the null is optional. Specifying all these branches are optional. We can specify one positive and one negative here. That is sufficient. Done? Now. So now in this case, I have specified that weekday number value as 4. So now 4 is nothing but it is that's day. So I want to display this message here. Let's see. I want to execute this piece of code. Click on execute. The request has been sent to the server. Select the debug only checkbox. Now it is indicating the value as that's day. So because whatever the variable that was specified, now this variable value is 4. 4 is matching with this particular branch value here. Now this 4 and this 4 both are same, so it will be executing this respective branch code. Suppose I am giving this value as some 14. But with the number 14, we don't have any branch over here. We are having the branches till 7 only. We don't have the branch with the number 14, so it will be executing the default block that is called as else block. Now click on execute. Let's see the debug only checkbox. Now it is showing that message invalid weekday number here. So that if any of the branch value is not matching with the variable or expression, then the else part will be getting executed by default. Okay? Clear? No, temporarily. These are branch values we can specify. But in this databases also we can fetch the possibilities. When moving forward, we can able to collect the value from database also. We can compare. Okay? Clear? Next one. Make a note of some assignment over here. Write an Apex program to find out name of the associated object based on the record ID as below. Assume that I am having a record ID. Okay? A complete 18 characters record ID is available. Now, if I am passing that record ID to my switch statement, it has to return to me okay, what object record it is. Is it an account record, contact record, lead record, case record, or what? I want to know that. Okay? So, in this case, here I want a small example of this one. So, now in this case, if I am passing this, now, record ID starts with object name. If the record ID is starting with some 001, this is what? Account. If it is 003, contact. If it is starting with a 005, 005 means what? User object, right. 006, opportunity. 00T, task. 00G, group. And then 500, 500. What object? 500. 501. Solution. And then 00Q. Lead. And then 801. These are some starting formats. Okay. Define a variable. Okay. Define a variable inside your application in the form of a string. From that string, nothing but pass that complete 18 characters ID inside that. From that one, pick up the first 3 characters. Then compare with this. Okay. Pick up the first three characters and then compare with this. Okay? Now, you will be having that functionalities available over here. Okay, you will be having that all the methods are ready-madely available to you. Like we are having string dot left. Okay, left. How many number of digits that you want? We can able to specify that. Suppose if I am indicating string of some length 3, it will be returning the first 3 digits here, first 3 characters available inside your string. For example, I am having a string here, like as some name. Name equals to some Ram Kumar. This is a string. I want to get the first 3 characters over here. So in this case, I am using that name dot left of 3. Okay, like that we can able to use the format here. So now whatever the variable is available, from that variable I would like to get the first 3 characters from the left side over here. Okay, so we can able to specify that information. Based on that we can able to get the first 3 characters. Based on that we can able to compare. Or else if you want to use that substring also, we can able to use that. Okay, you will be having the substring function, string dot substring. Okay, here we can able to specify that here. So what exactly the starting point and how many number of digits that you want. Okay, you can indicate the starting index position and then how many number of digits that you want. We can able to indicate that. Any one of the function we can use. Okay. By using this one, collect that first 3 characters and then compare with this particular the record schema IDs or object IDs. Okay. If the record IDs of first 3 characters are matching with this particular value, then display that this record is a complete. If that first 3 characters are matching with this 00T, then display that we have the task record. Like that here, I want to that object name based on the record ID here. Okay. The second one. So now for example here, assume that I am having a phone field. Okay, I am having a phone field. In that phone field, I am storing the phone number. So now from which country you have received the phone number, how do we know? Based on the country code. How can we get the country code? The first 3 characters, +91, okay, or +81, or +61. Based on that, we can able to identify that. Okay, like the similar way, I would like to identify the country name. Okay, based on that phone number here. Okay, now. So now here in this case here, write an Apex program to find out the country name to which the contact number should associate it. Based on the starting 3 characters of the contact number. If the phone number starts with, and then country name. If the phone number starts with +91, I want to indicate like Assam, India. If it is starting with some +61, I want to indicate some Australia. If it is starting with some +81, this is some Japan. Okay, so like that here, I want to indicate this. Okay, I want to indicate on this one. So try these 2 assignments here by using switch statement. Okay. Next one, the one more syntax we'll see. Okay, as part of this switch statement. What is the second format of syntax that we have? Now let's see practically in this case. The syntax 2. Now, for example, so let's take an example, okay, which we have implemented in the previous session. For example, I want to use this assignment here. Now, in this case, what happened? Based on that month number, I want to represent that month number is comes under which season. If the month number is either 1 or 2 or 3 or 4, then I want to show that season name as winter season. If the month number is either 5 or 6 or 7 or 8, I want to display that summer season. Like that, here we are having some formats are available, some ranges are available. Based on that, we can able to show the respective season name. So now in this case here, what I want to do is, okay, I want to implement that same program by using that switch statement. But in this case, what needs to be done generally? In this case, what we can do? First of all, we have to define a variable with the name month number. Okay, now I'm defining that here. Integer month number. Don't write this code. I'm indicating that here. So now then how can we verify? Switch on month number. Switch on month number. Now in this case here, if the month number is 1, then what is the season name? System.debug winter season. Now, if the month number is 2, then for the month number 2, what is the season name? Winter or summer or spring? Winter only, the same. So now, when the month number is 2, the same season. When the month number is 3, then the same season. When the month number is 4, the same season here. When the month number is 5, then what is the season name in this case? Summer season here. That means what? For the month numbers either 1 or 2 or 3 or 4. We are displaying that same statement. We are writing that same piece of code here. But in this case, what happened? The same piece of code I am going to be executing in the multiple branches over here. For all these 4 branches, the same statements I am executing. In this case, the redundancy will be getting erased or not? Yes. Duplicate will be getting erased. So that here, instead of writing these 4 branches separately, we can able to club all these branches into a single one. Where, because in each and every branch, I am executing the same statements here. Same piece of code we are executing. So that instead of writing the same piece of code again and again and again, we can able to combine all these 4 branches into a single branch here. For that one, we can able to specify. When the branch is equals to 1, or when the branch is equals to 2, or 3, or 4, then execute that same piece of code. So that no need to write these branches here. Okay? That means what? I'm optimizing the code. Instead of writing that same code, instead of writing the same duplicate code again and again and again, we are going to be optimizing. That means whenever the month number value is either 1 or 2 or 3 or 4, then please execute this block of statements here. So that previously we have written 4 branches, now we have written only 1 branch. So that we can reduce that code, we can avoid that duplicate code also, and we can make our code generic as well. For that reason here, we are going to be comparing a variable value with the multiple branch numbers here. Okay? Now we can able to compare with that a collection of elements here. In each and every branch, we are having some collection of values are available. If this variable value is matching with any of these collection of values, then this respective branch statements will be getting executed here. Like the similar way, we can specify either 5 or 6 or 7 or 8. Then we can able to write that summer season. Like that here, we can able to write that multiple branches also depends upon your requirement here. Okay? Now, so now let me write this syntax over here. No. In between number in the sense? No, we can't specify that. 1 to 4 we can't directly specify. All these options we have to specify. Or else we have to specify these options in the form of a collection. Okay? Array or collection. So now make a note of this syntax here. Switch on variable name or expression when value 1, comma value 2, comma value 3, like that some value can. In this case, we can write that branch statement. When value 1 1, value 1 2, 1 3, value 1, then at that time we can write the statements. Like that here multiple branches we can write. Finally we can use that when else part. Default block statements. Default block statements. This is the second format of switch statement, where we can able to compare a variable or an expression value, okay, with a collection of values inside the branch. In this approach, we can compare a variable or expression value with a collection of values inside the branch. If any of the branch value is matching with the variable, then the associated block of statements will get executed. Done? Now. So will you try this example? Will you try this assignment? So now implement this one. Try this assignment here. Okay, this is the third assignment for today. You use that switch statement in order to implement this functionality. Done? So now let's see one more conditional statement, ternary operator. So what exactly the ternary operator? How the syntax will look like? Now we'll see the ternary operator inside this. Now, so generally, whatever the if-else statement that we are using in the similar fashion, we can use the ternary operator also. Ternary operator is exactly similar like as your normal if-else condition, where if the condition has been satisfied, we are executing some block of statements. If the condition is false, we are executing the else block statements. Like the similar way here also, we can use the ternary operator here. But ternary operator is going to be reducing the number of lines of code. It will reduce the number of lines of code. In this case, how the syntax will look like of this ternary operator? Now let's see practically in this case. Okay? Now. So now let's see here. Make a note of this one. By using this statement, we can compare a variable, we can compare the values by using the required conditions. If the conditions are satisfied, then we can return the true value, else we can return false. We can return false. Based on that condition result, we can return either true or false. Now how the syntax will look like? The syntax is, I'm indicating that we can specify the conditions. It may be one or more number of conditions we can specify. Make a question mark. That means I would like to verify the conditions. If the conditions are satisfied, then you can able to specify that or else false. That's it. The syntax will be look like this. We can specify the conditions. Inside the braces, we can specify the conditions. If all the conditions are satisfied, then it is going to be returning the true value or else it will return false value. Now this question mark is going to be validating the conditions. Okay, the question mark is going to be validating the conditions. It will verify whether the conditions are satisfied or failed. If the conditions are satisfied, then the immediate value, that means the true value will be getting returned or else it will be returning that false value. We can return some values also, depends upon your requirement. The possibility is there. Okay, now, so in this case here, how can we use this ternary operator? Now let's see practically here. Let's take a small example now in this case. Now, write an Apex program to find out the biggest number from the given two numbers. Already you know this example, how to write. We'll see the normal if condition syntax and we'll see the ternary operator syntax also. Then we'll see which one is an optimized way. Okay, now, so now let's see here. Let me implement this functionality now. So now in this case, I would like to find out the biggest number from the given two numbers. So that I need to have the two numerical values. To store these two numerical values, I would like to have the two variables of type integer. So I'm defining two variables, integer, the first number, and the second number. I'm defining two variables here of type numerical. In these two variables, I'm assigning some values. First number equals to some 1350 and the second number equals to some 500. Generally, how can we write by using normal if condition? Forget about ternary operator, right? That's normal if condition. How can we do that? If the first number is greater than second number, then I want to show the message system.debug first number is the biggest one. Then else system.debug second number is the biggest one. Okay, so this is a piece of code we are writing by using the normal if conditions. Now here we have written some 4 lines of code in order to implement this. Then how can we do this one same by using the ternary operator? Now let's see. Okay, ternary operator here. Now I want to implement like this. Now I want to specify the condition first, the same condition. First number is greater than second number. If the first number is greater than second number, then return that first number here. Because first number is the biggest one. Or else return that second number. Okay. I want to store that value inside a variable. Integer, the big number. Okay. Now here I am verifying the condition. If the first number value is greater than second number, then return the first number as the biggest one, or else return that second number over here. Okay. Now, whatever the big number is available, it will be collecting that, it is returning that value. We are storing that big number inside this variable. Now we can able to show the message. System.debug biggest number is, I would like to show that big number. Now tell me in how many lines of code we have written this piece of code here. 2 lines. So now which one is looking like as optimized one? The first one or the second approach? Second approach. Okay. Now, in this case, what happened? We can able to reduce the number of lines of code also. We can able to make that code optimized. Okay, we can make that code optimized also. So now here in this case here we have written that same code by using if condition with the 4 lines of code, but now by using ternary operator I am reducing it to the 2 lines itself here directly. Okay, we can able to implement within the 2 lines itself. So now here I am going to be comparing both the variable values. If any of the variable value is big, that means here if the condition is satisfied. If the first number is bigger than the second number, then I am returning that first number value, or else this is the true block or this is the false block. Now this is the true block we are having, this is the false block. Like the similar way, immediate block will be the true block, or else the second one will be the false block here. Okay. So now in this case, if both the numbers are we are verifying, if the condition is satisfied, it returns that immediate value, or else it will return that next value to you. So that based on that value, we can able to represent this. Now, some optima I am going to be commenting this code. I am commenting this piece of code here. Okay. So any one of the way we can able to use depends upon your requirement, either this format or this format. So now let me click on execute button to see which one is the biggest one. In this case, first number is the biggest one over here, so it will be indicating the value 1350. Now it is indicating that the biggest number is 1350. Suppose for example, I want to indicate that this is 1500. Second number is the 1500. Now let me execute this piece of code to check the results. Select the debug only checkbox. Now it is indicating the biggest number is 1500. Like that here, instead of using this normal if condition, which is a very lengthy statement, we can able to optimize that code by using the ternary operator itself. Okay, that possibility is available. Clear? So these are three conditional statements are available when coming to your Apex program. Okay. These are the three conditional statements are available. We have if condition with all the four formats we have discussed. And then we have discussed about the switch statement with all the two syntaxes. And we have discussed the ternary operator also. Okay. Now, so with this one, we are done with the conditional statements. Now let's see the iterative statements. These are also called as looping statements. Both are same. In some programming language, these are also called as looping statements, or actually these are called as iterative statements. Now tell me, what do you mean by iterative statement? Iterative in the sense repeatedly, okay, continuously, okay, till the required number of times. Continuously, we can able to execute some statements. Continuously, I would like to iterate a particular collection also. Depends upon the required number of times. So now in this case here, we are using this iterative statements. Like for example, come to a general scenario. Assume that I want to print some welcome message onto my debug log file. What we can do? We are using that system.debug. We can specify that message. Welcome. Now, whenever I'm executing this statement, how many times it will printing this welcome message on my debug log file? One time. I want to print this message 2 times. What we can do? We have to use that same statement 2 times. I want to write that same statement 2 times. Suppose I want to display this message 10 times. Then what we can do? We have to write that same code, okay, 10 times over here. So now in this case, what happened? Even though it may be 1 time, it may be 10 times also, the same statement I have written. Same piece of code I have written. But in this case, this code is looking like as lengthy, right? Okay, the code is looking like as lengthy, but it's not a lengthy code, it's simple code. Just we are going to display the same message multiple times for writing the same code again and again and again. So in this case, what happened? Whenever I'm writing the code like this, it will occupy more lines of code. It will make my application complex. It will occupy more number of characters also, which is going to be degrading my application performance. And which is going to be initiating that redundancy inside my application also. Duplicate code also will be getting introduced. But now, I don't want to write the duplicate code. I don't want to have that redundant code inside my application. Always I would like to write the code only once. The same code I would like to reuse whenever you want, wherever you want in the entire organization. So I don't want to write the repeated code again and again and again. So for that one, instead of writing that same code, I would like to write the code only once and I would like to reuse. That means re-execute here. Because I want to display the welcome message onto my debug log file. How many times? 10 times. So that use the same code repeatedly till the required number of times. In this case, if you want to execute a block of statements, if you want to execute some set of statements repeatedly, continuously till the required number of times. It may be 2 times, it may be 1 time, it may be 0 times, it may be 100 times, it may be 1000 times, whatever you want. Depends upon the required number of times, we can keep on iteratively execute that same piece of code. Instead of writing the same code again and again and again, instead of making it copy and paste in the multiple places, write the code only once and reuse that same code again and again and again. For that reason, in order to execute that statements, it may be 1, it may be multiple, repeatedly till the required number of times we are using iterative statements. By using these iterative statements, we can execute the block of statements iteratively, that means repeatedly, continuously till the required number of times. We can indicate how many number of times you want to execute this statement, either 1 time, 2 times, 5 times, 10 times, what? We can indicate. That possibility is available by adding some proper conditions. So in this case, In order to execute those statements based on the need repeatedly, we are using these iterative statements. These are also called as looping statements in other programming languages also. Both are same, just the terminology different. That's it, nothing else. Okay. Now, in this case, what iterative statements are available inside your Apex programming? Generally, the general programming, for loop, while loop, do while loop. Okay, these are the three iterative statements generally we are having. So now these three are common, and along with that, programming language to programming language, some additional iterative statements may be available. When you go to some Java programming or when you go to some backend programming, along with these three, you will be having one more for each statement. Okay, for each statement. By using that for each statement also, we can able to iterate. That for each statement is also called as enhanced for loop in Salesforce. In Salesforce, as part of Apex programming, we have 4 iterative statements are available. Okay, we have 4 iterative statements. First one is the while iterative statement, that is also called as while loop. Second one, do while loop, that is also called as do while iterative statement. Third one, for iterative statement, that is also called as for loop. And the fourth one is enhanced for loop. Okay, enhanced for loop. These are the 4 iterative statements are available. There is a difference between normal for loop and the enhanced for loop. Okay, there is a difference is available in terms of performance, in terms of functionality, behavior. In both the cases, we are having some differences. We'll see those differences also over here. Okay, now, in this case, as part of this Apex programming, we are having that 4 iterative statements are available. Okay, then how to use each and every iterative statement? What is the syntax of each and every iterative statement? How the execution flow will be getting happening internally, we'll see practically one by one with some practical examples on this. Okay. So now let's make a note of this one. Apex provides the below 4 iterative statements. I'm not giving the description of this iterative statement because everything have documented inside your hard copy. Okay. We have these 4 iterative statements are available. There is the while loop, or while iterative statement. Second one, do while. Third one, for. Fourth one, enhanced for. These are the 4 iterative statements are available inside your Apex program. So we are having these 4 iterative statements are available inside your Apex program. Then how can we use these 4 iterative statements? We'll see one by one. Okay. Now the first one is while loop. Now, so in this case, how this while iterative statement will get executed internally? Here, what is the syntax of this while iterative statement? Okay. Now let's see practically first. Now, the syntax. Syntax is while we can specify one or more number of conditions. We can write the statements whatever you want. Whatever the statements you want to execute iteratively or repeatedly, we can write those statements inside the block, and then we can indicate inside the condition till how many times you want to execute this statements. till how many times you want to execute this statement. You can specify. So now let me explain the execution flow. Okay, how the flow will be getting happening internally. So this is the while loop that we have, okay, inside my application. While the conditions, it will be executing the statements over here. What are the statements that you want to execute, we can able to specify. Upon executing these statements, okay, first of all, now before this while loop, you may be having some more statements may be available. So it will be executing the statements one by one, one by one, one by one. And at a certain point of time, it is reaching to that while loop here. Okay, certain point of time, it is reaching to that while loop here. Whenever it is reaching to that while loop here, okay, whenever it is reaching to that while loop, first of all, it will check the condition. Okay, this is the first step. First of all, it will verify the conditions because it's like as an entry gate. At the entry gate itself here, we are having the conditions are available. So these are the statements it has to execute. But before entering into that statement itself, there is an entry condition is available. It has to verify. First of all, it will check the conditions. Once the conditions has been getting verified, in this case, the condition may be failed, condition may be satisfied. Okay. If the condition has been satisfied, it will enter into the block here. Okay. It's a second step. If the condition is satisfied, it will be entering into the block. That means if the condition is true. Okay. Once it has been entered into the block, then whatever the statements are available, these statements will be getting executed once. Okay. Whatever the statements are available, statements will be getting executed as a third step. So now once the statements have been getting executed, if there is no more statements to execute, then again, it will be going back to the condition again, to execute that same statement again here. Here is the fourth step. Okay. Here is the fourth step. Once the condition has been getting verified again, it will be entering into the block, it will be executing the statement. This process will be keep on continued till the condition will be getting satisfied. Once the condition get failed, it will be coming out from the block automatically here. Okay. Once the condition will be getting failed, okay, then it will be coming out from that block automatically by default. So this is the flow of execution when coming to that while. So now whenever we are using this while iterative statement, okay, upon executing the statements one by one, one by one, one by one, at a certain point of time it is reaching to that while statement. In this while statement here we are having the condition is available initially. Directly it can't enter into the block. There is a condition, there is a precondition is there, entry condition is there. First of all, it has to cross check that condition. It will verify the condition first. Once the condition has been getting satisfied, then it will enter into the block over here. Okay. Now, once it has entered into the block, then whatever the statements are available inside this block, starting block to ending block, these statements will be executing once. Once the statements have been getting executed, then if there is no more statements to execute, then again it will go to that condition to execute that statement second time. Now it will verify the condition again. If the condition is satisfied, it will enter into that block again, it will execute the statement second time also. Like that, this process will be keep on continued till the conditions are satisfied. Once the condition get failed, it will be coming out from that entire while condition over here. Okay? This is the flow of execution when coming to that while iterative statement. Okay? Now, so now tell me in this case, while iterative statement is a pre-checking condition or post-checking condition. Why pre-checking? Before executing the statement, first of all, it is verifying that conditions first. So that while is a pre-checking iterative statement which will execute that specified block of statements repeatedly till the required number of times. Okay. So not till the condition is getting satisfied, this block of statements will be keep on executing repeatedly. Once the condition gets failed, it will be coming out from the block automatically by default. So that every time before executing this block of statements, first of all it is validating the condition. If the condition is satisfied, then only it will enter into the block or else it won't enter. So that while iterative statement is called as a pre-checking. That means before executing the statement is verifying the conditions first. So that it is a pre-checking iterative statement, okay, which will be executing the statements repeatedly till the condition has been satisfied. Once the condition gets failed, it will be coming out from the block automatically here. Okay? Clear? Understood the flow? Any questions still? Nobody is responding. Understood the flow or not at least? Okay? Now. So now in this case here, make a note of this one. It is a pre-checking iterative statement which will validate the condition first before executing the statements. Before executing the statements. It will execute the statements repeatedly till the condition gets satisfied. Till the condition gets satisfied. Once the conditions get failed, then it will come out of the block. It will come out of the block. If you know the flow of execution, then we can able to trace the application also very easily. Flow is very, very important. If you understood the flow, then only we can write the conditions, we can able to write the statements inside that. Without knowing the syntax, without knowing the flow, it will be difficult to write the code. Done? Now, let's see a practical example on this one. Write an Apex program to print the welcome message 10 times on the debug log file. Write an Apex program to print the welcome message 10 times on the debug log file. To print the welcome message 10 times on the debug log file. Now, so now tell me how can we do this one now? How to print the message? You know, system.debug statements on welcome. We can write that. I want to execute the statement how many times? 10 times. Now, whenever I'm printing, every time we need to count, right? Like how many times I have printed? 1 time, 2 times, 3 times. Whenever I'm printing the 10 times, I want to stop printing from there itself. I don't want to print anymore. I want to print those statements till 10 times only, not 9 times, not more than 10 times. Exactly 10 times I want to print. So that every time I need to count how many times I have printed as of now. 1 time, 2 times, 3 times, like that. So that to maintain this counting process, we need one variable. Okay? We need one variable, that is I'm defining with the name some counter. You can give any name, X, Y, Z, ABC, whatever. Okay? Better give a meaningful name over here. So that to identify how many number of times you have printed, to count that we are using a counter variable where I will let initialize from 1. Because the counting will be always starting from 1. So that here I am defining a variable here. Int is some counter equals to 1. So now from the first time to 10 times I would like to print over here. Okay. Now, in this case what needs to be done? So now in order to execute that, so now I would like to verify the counter value. When the counter value is reaching to till 10 times, I would like to execute these statements here. So for that one, I am using that while loop. Inside the while loop, I am writing that statement which I am going to print. Like as I'm welcome to Apex programming. Okay, welcome to Apex programming. This is the statement I want to execute. Before executing that statement, I want to verify whether this counter value is greater than 10 or not. If it is greater than 10, I don't want to allow. Okay, now in this case, I am verifying this condition over here. Now whether the counter value is less than 10 or not, I want to cross check that. While the counter value less than or equals to 10. That means please execute this block of statements, okay, till the counter value is reaching to 10. So now for example here, what we can do, how can we trace this application? Now let's see. So in this case, counter value. Initially the counter value is what? The counter value is 1. Okay, now counter value is 1. Now it is verifying the condition here. Counter value is what here? 1. 1 less than or equals to 10. Because counter value is 1 here. It will check the condition. Now tell me counter value is 1. So now 1 is less than or equals to 10. Condition is true or false? True. Then it will be entering into the block. It will execute the statement. After that, what we need to do? Second time I need to print. Okay, second time here. In this case also counter value is 1. But what needs to be done now? One time I have printed. Second time I am printing right now. Then what we can do? To indicate that I am going to be incrementing that counter value one more. Okay, counter plus plus. Suppose for example, if I am not writing this a counter plus plus, then what will happen? Always that counter value will be 1. So it will go into that infinite loop automatically by default here. Okay, but I don't want to print infinite times. I want to print exactly 10 times over here. So that here, now once the statements have been getting printed, I want to increment the counter value by 1. Already counter value is what? 1. Now the value will be incremented by 1 more. So now the counter value will be 2. Now it will go to that condition again. What is the counter value now? 2. Now to check the condition. 2 less than or equals to 10. Condition is true. It will enter into the block. It will be executing the statement. And then it is going to be again incrementing the value by 1. Already counter value is 2. Now this time the counter value will be 3. Like that here it is going to be checking that condition here. 3 less than or equals to 10. Like that this process will be keep on executing over here. At a certain point of time, counter value will be reaching to 9. It will check the condition 9 less than or equals to 10. Condition is satisfied. So it will execute that statement. It will increment the value by 1 more. Now the counter value will be what? 10. It will check the condition. 10 is less than or equals to 10. Condition is satisfied or not? Yes, because we are having equality also here. Till it is reaching to 10. Now it will check the condition here. 10 less than or equals to 10. Condition is satisfied. It will be executing the statement. After that, it will be incrementing the value by 1. So now what is the value now? 11. It will check the condition now. 11 less than or equals to 10. Condition is true or false? False. So it will be coming out from that block automatically. Like that here, we have to cross-check the conditions before executing the statement. Once the statement has been getting executed, we have to increment the value or decrement the value. It depends upon the business requirement. Okay? Clear? Now. So now here in this case here, I am executing this piece of code. So now I am indicating that initially the counter value I am initializing with 1 because I am starting the counting process from 1. I am going to be executing this block of statement till the counter value is reaching to 10 because I want to execute that same statement till 10 times so that I am going to be verifying the condition till 10 times. Now every time once the statements have been getting executed, I want to increment the value by 1. Okay, now click on execute. Let's see the result. It has to print that same statement again and again and again till 10 times. Select the debug only. It will be printing that, executing the same statements, okay, till 10 times over here, depends upon your requirement. That means what? Previously, if you don't have any iterative statement, then same statement we have to write 10 times, which will be looking like as lengthy, which will be looking like as complex, which will be taking more time, which is occupying more number of characters. So that to avoid that, to reduce that code, to avoid the duplicate code, we are writing that code only once, and then the same code I am going to be repeatedly executing till required number of times by using these iterative statements here. Okay? Clear? Understood the concept here? Next one. So write one more small program here. Write an Apex program to print the numerical values between 1 to 50. Write an Apex program to print the numerical values between 1 to 50. Between 1 to 50, whatever the numerical numbers are available, I want to get all those numbers. I want to print all those numbers now. So now tell me, how can we write this piece of code now? We have to printing from where? 1. Till what number you want to print? 50. Okay, now. So that initially I am going to be defining that counter value with 1, because I want to print the value from 1 onwards. So that here I am using that while loop. While counter value is less than or equals to 50. That means till the counter value is reaching to 50, then please execute these statements here. System.debug number value. I want to print the value here. What value you want to print? 1, 2, 3, 4, like that. But those values are available where? Inside my counter variable. So that's here I'm printing that counter value. And every time I need to increment the counter value by 1. Because here I want to print the values 1, 2, 3, 4, like that. It has to increment that value every time 1. Initially the value will be 1. It will check the condition. 1 less than or equals to 50. Condition is satisfied. It will print the value 1. The number value is 1. And then it will increment the value by 1 more. So now the value will be 2. It will check the condition. 2 less than or equals to 50. Condition is satisfied. It will print that second number. Nothing but number value is counter. That means 2. And then it will increment the value by 1 more. It will check the condition. Like that, it will be incrementing the value till 50 over. Okay, all the numbers will be getting visible from 1 to 50 inside your debug log file. Okay. Now click on execute. See the results. Select the debug only checkbox. Now it is printing that values. The number value is 1, 2, 3, 4, like that, up to we can able to print the value till 50. Till the value 50 we can able to print that here. So now we can able to print the values here. Till 50 we can able to print. Now till 50 we can able to print that values. Okay. So this is how we are using this, okay, while iterative statement. Okay. Understood this one? So tomorrow we'll see some more examples on this while, and then we'll see that do while statement and the for loop statement also tomorrow. Okay. And after that for loop, we are going to be discussing about that arrays concept